Instant chemistry is supposed to feel like proof. The look across the room, the effortless conversation, the sudden rush in your chest, the feeling that somehow, within minutes, you already know. But for a demisexual person, that moment can create a very different question. Why am I supposed to trust this? Because when attraction doesn't usually arrive before emotional connection, instant chemistry can feel less like destiny and more like pressure disguised as certainty. And that creates a strange psychological conflict. You can recognize that someone is beautiful, interesting, charming, even magnetic, and still feel nothing that resembles sexual attraction. Yet everyone around you seems to treat that first spark as evidence. Evidence that you should want them. Evidence that you should pursue them. Evidence that something is wrong if you don't. So eventually, the real distrust may not be directed at chemistry itself. It may be directed at the expectation that you should feel it. For many demisexual people, attraction can become something they quietly investigate instead of something they automatically surrender to. They notice the compliments, the flirting, the physical closeness, the messages that arrive late at night. And instead of thinking, I want this person, another question appears. Do I actually want this, or am I supposed to? That distinction can become psychologically exhausting, because modern dating is built around speed. Swipe, match, flirt, meet, hook up, decide. The entire system rewards immediate emotional and physical reactions. But demisexual attraction doesn't necessarily operate on that timetable. Connection may need history. Trust may need consistency. Vulnerability may need evidence. And when the culture keeps telling you that attraction should be instant, waiting can start to feel like failure. That is where something darker happens. You may begin monitoring yourself. Do I like them enough? Should I be more attracted? Why don't I feel what they feel? Why did I enjoy talking to them but not want anything physical? Why does everyone else seem to know immediately? You stop experiencing the interaction and start auditing your own reactions. This is self-surveillance disguised as dating. And the more you monitor attraction, the harder it can become to recognize what attraction actually feels like for you. Because now there are two people in the room. The person you're talking to, and the invisible audience in your head judging whether you're responding correctly. That audience might be friends, dating culture, social media, past partners, or simply the memory of every conversation where someone looked confused because you weren't instantly interested. Eventually, I'm not attracted yet, can start feeling dangerously close to, I'm defective. That's the hidden psychological damage, not the absence of instant chemistry, the suspicion that your emotional timeline is somehow wrong. And this is where demisexual people can become especially vulnerable to emotional performance. You laugh a little harder. You flirt because they expect flirting. You reciprocate compliments. You act excited about a date you are still uncertain about. Not necessarily because you're lying. Sometimes you're translating. You're trying to communicate interest in the only language everyone around you seems to understand. Immediate desire. But interest and attraction aren't always the same thing. You can want to know someone without wanting their body. You can enjoy intimacy without experiencing sexual attraction. You can feel emotionally drawn toward someone while still needing time to discover whether sexual attraction ever develops. And that uncertainty can be terrifying in a culture obsessed with certainty. Because modern dating constantly asks for an answer before you've had enough information to honestly give one. Do you like them? Are you feeling chemistry? Would you sleep with them? Is this going somewhere? Sometimes the most truthful answer is simply, I don't know yet. But I don't know yet doesn't perform well in modern romance. Algorithms don't reward ambiguity. Dating scripts don't reward hesitation. And other people's insecurity can turn your uncertainty into an accusation. If you liked me, you'd know. That sentence can do enormous psychological damage. Because suddenly attraction becomes a test of affection. If you don't feel it immediately, you must not care. If you need time, you must be avoiding them. If you aren't excited physically, something must be missing. So the demisexual person can begin forcing a decision that their emotional system hasn't reached naturally. And sometimes they choose the safer answer. They say yes. They continue dating. They convince themselves the attraction will appear because the person is objectively attractive, kind, compatible, or desirable. This is where emotional substitution can begin. You substitute compatibility for attraction, attention for intimacy, being wanted for wanting, and validation for desire. For a while it can work. Someone wants you. Someone chooses you. Someone sends the good morning text. Someone calls you beautiful. And when loneliness has been loud enough, being desired can temporarily feel like proof that you desire them back. But eventually, the psychological mismatch becomes impossible to ignore. Because being wanted is not the same as wanting. And being emotionally safe is not automatically the same as being sexually attracted. That realization can hurt more than rejection. Because now you have to confront something modern dating rarely teaches people how to tolerate. You can genuinely value someone and still not be attracted to them. No villain. No betrayal. No dramatic reason. Just a difference in how attraction arrived. Or didn't. And that can trigger guilt. Especially when the other person has already become emotionally invested. You may start thinking, maybe I should give it more time. Maybe I'm being too picky. Maybe I'm scared. Maybe something is wrong with me. Notice what happens there. The question stops being whether the relationship fits you. It becomes whether you can somehow repair yourself enough to fit the relationship. That is identity erosion in miniature. And it doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like staying on a dating app longer than you want to. Replying to messages because you feel guilty. Going on another date because the other person is perfect on paper. Forcing physical affection because you don't want to disappoint them. Or confusing anxiety about losing someone's approval with fear of losing the person themselves. That last distinction is particularly dangerous. Because reassurance can imitate attraction. When someone pulls away, suddenly you may want them intensely. Not necessarily because attraction appeared, but because rejection activated your attachment system. The fear of losing someone can be mistaken for finally wanting them. That is why instant chemistry can feel suspicious. Not because attraction is fake, but because intensity is not always truth. For a demisexual person, attraction may need evidence. Consistency, trust, vulnerability, familiarity. The world may demand a spark immediately. But your reality may unfold differently. You are not behind and you are not broken.